Good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harabsky. This is the time when the news has to tell you to give yourself a little extra time if you're heading out anywhere right now, obviously because of the conditions outside. Roads still a bit messy after dumping a bunch of snow that caused more than 100 crashes across the state. You're looking at a live look right now outside. You got 50 shades of gray out there. The bitter cold is moving in as well. We'll check in with the weather team in just a bit here. Developing right now, a man is dead after being hit by a snowplow on the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport campus. According to airport officials, this happened in the parking lot of the Sky Chefs facility, which is just south of Terminal 2. Here's video from the scene last night. You can see several of the emergency crews that were there. And right now, it's not clear if the 47-year-old man was a worker at the airport. The State Patrol is investigating exactly what happened. Right now, several snow emergencies are in place across the Twin Cities, including Minneapolis and St. Paul, meaning some of you may need to get your car off the street. In Brooklyn Park, street parking is banned until things are plowed curb to curb. There are designated snow lots there. You also have 48 hours to clear snow from the sidewalk. Brooklyn Center, same deal, no street parking. And after 6 a.m., if your street is plowed curb to curb, you can then resume the street parking. So you got to wait for them to take care of business. In New Hope, our cameras captured crews working to clear a parking lot there. And you can see snow on one of the stop signs. That's when you know the wind is rolling, or they got a big blower on one of those snow blowers. You cannot park on the street there until the road is plowed curb to curb. If your car is where it should not be, you could be ticketed, could be towed. How much you pay depends on the city, but they could range above $190. While the flakes may be pretty, shoveling all of this can be a challenge, if not downright impossible for some. Heidi Wigdahl has more on how people are volunteering to help get that chore done.
The snow keeps coming, and every time it needs to get cleared.
It sounds like we're going to get a lot of snow this winter, so we could really use as many angels as we can get.
Aman Amani is talking about the Saintly City Snow Angels, a Facebook group that gathers those who need help shoveling with those who can help.
It felt like we got a lot of snow really fast, and there are a lot of people who are either old or disabled, or they just had surgery and they're unable to shovel for themselves. I just shoveled my own house. I was like, do any neighbors need help?
It's Aman's first winter volunteering with the group. His first day, he cleared snow at 9 homes.
So I try to follow this philosophy of I am because we are. So if there's something that I can do to help other people, it's something that brings me a lot of happiness.
This is video from last winter when volunteers with Senior Community Services stepped in to shovel. The organization services older adults in Hennepin, Wright, and Sherburne counties.
We got around 400 requests for snow removal this winter, and we've been able to fulfill about all but 60. We have volunteers and paid workers, so we make sure it's always something they can afford, and if they can't pay, they're never ever turned away.
Marketing and Communications Coordinator Emma Friend says it's a service helping seniors stay in their homes.
If the beginning is anything to go by, we're thinking it's going to be quite long and hard, but if we all stand up for our neighbors a little bit and come out to help, we can all make it through.
Got new details this afternoon from a woman who says that she was detained while observing ICE activity in North Minneapolis. Nasira Kelvy is here with the new video and details of that arrest. Nas?
Thanks, Chris. New video obtained by KARE 11 shows the arrest of a North Minneapolis ICE observer named Susan Tincher. Tincher told me that she recently joined an ICE monitoring group chat to help keep her immigrant neighbors safe. She went to an address that appeared in that group chat when she came across a large ICE presence around 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Tincher says she was standing on the sidewalk when the federal officials told her she was obstructing their work.
I was thrown to the ground, tightly handcuffed, put in an unmarked truck, and driven to the Whipple building where I was put in leg shackles and held in a cell for 4 hours.
The 55-year-old woman told me she was released shortly after asking for an attorney, but could still face charges. According to the Northside Residents Redevelopment Council, 3 people were detained during that initial ICE raid. Chris?
Interesting. We'll have to see what the charges might be, if she was intervening or simply just standing there and talking to them. We'll find out. Thanks, Naz. Hey, quick check of the markets this afternoon as the Federal Reserve announces its third and final interest rate cut of 2025. The quarter-point cut is the same as the previous 2 this year, and it comes with almost no data to back it up. That's because there's essentially a data blackout caused by the government shutdown earlier this fall. The Bureau of Labor Statistics has released the September jobs report, but the October report was canceled altogether, and the November report remains a work in progress. The delayed November jobs report is set to be released December 16th. Anger and confusion right now as a U.S. citizen of Somali descent says ICE recently detained him in a raid in Minneapolis. And in a press conference, the man, only identified as Mubashir, said he stepped outside and was immediately tackled and handcuffed by ICE agents. Mubashir says ICE agents wanted to take a picture of him to confirm his status. He says he refused, but offered to show a picture of his passport card. Mubashir says he was then taken to a detention center in Bloomington for several hours, where officials eventually confirmed his identity and his citizenship and let him go.
I asked them, how am I supposed to get home? They told me walk. I thought they were kidding. I told them, I thought you guys promised to take me back to Cedar, where I was. They said you have to walk, but eventually my parents did show up.
So in an interview Sunday, U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan told CNN that ICE is not intentionally detaining U.S. citizens and is not racial profiling, and says once a person can confirm their legal status, they should be released. Lou Raguse broke a story a couple weeks ago about a decision by a judge to toss out a jury's guilty verdict in a fraud case, and it got a lot of attention. So Lou kept at it, as he does best, and found more.
The $7.2 million mailbox. That's how prosecutors described to the jury the supposed office of Promise Health LLC, the home health care company owned by Abdi Fattah Yusuf on Central Avenue in Minneapolis, where several other similar businesses were supposedly located. Jurors saw dozens of checks written to Yusuf's wife, family members, and $1.1 million in bank transfers and cash withdrawals to himself. Money Promise Health received through state Medicaid reimbursements for claiming to provide personal care assistant or PCA services. The jury saw it as fraud and convicted Yusuf of 6 counts of theft by swindle.
It was not a difficult decision whatsoever. The deliberation took probably 4 hours at most. Based off of the state's evidence that was presented, I was beyond a reasonable doubt.
What the jury didn't know is that before they deliberated, Judge Sarah West tossed out the top charge of racketeering. Then 3 months after the verdict, Judge West made the rare move of tossing out the full verdict as well, giving Yusuf a judgment of acquittal.
How is that not obviously fraud?
With a circumstantial case, there has to be no other rational hypothesis other than guilt.
Paul Young, a former prosecutor and current defense attorney not connected to this case, says Judge West's decision stems from a review standard backed up by Minnesota Supreme Court rulings usually used in appeals of cases that involve mostly circumstantial evidence.
In other words, if there's another reasonable explanation, that could be the reasonable doubt.
Court records show other Hennepin County judges tossing related cases before they reached trial. Judge Amber Brennan dismissed the charges against Yusuf's wife, Lol Ahmed, and Judge Hillary Caligiuri dismissed charges against co-defendant Abdi Weli Mahamoud.
I saw this story and immediately I was outraged.
Republican Senator Michael Holstrom requested all exhibits from the Yusuf trial and says he's researching what can be done to stop and better prosecute these cases in the future.
Even with extreme judges, they knew that going in. We need to be able to overcome that when the evidence is so clear.
Lou Raguse reporting there. Lawmakers say they're checking if any law changes are needed. And to understand what circumstantial evidence is, all that means is evidence that you need to make an inference, like in this case. New today, we're getting you details on the 2019 grand jury case against Jeffrey Epstein. A judge granted the Justice Department's request to unseal the documents from the sex trafficking case. The order comes after the law passed by Congress last month to release all of the records connected to Epstein. Right now, it's not exactly clear when those records will be released. We do have some brand new video today that you have to check out to believe.
Like, bro, I have chops, I swear. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
I mean, yeah. I think that reaction captures it pretty well. You just saw a small plane crash land into a car on a Florida highway. driver of that car, according to police, was taken to the hospital only with minor injuries, and the pilot and passenger of the plane were not hurt at all. That is unbelievable. Hollywood could not duplicate that. And we're happy to report that everyone's okay. Wow. All right, stick with us. More news and weather coming up after the break.